Hey everybody, this is Perch. We've seen lots of news and announcements and speculation leading up to James Gunn and the new DC universe. So, how does it all play out, and what do we think? Because now they have announced 10 projects, 5 movies, 5 TV shows that are intended to be basically DCU, Phase One, if you will. And I don't know that they're calling it that, but it's basically the first 10 movies in this slate, and we're kind of capped by Superman coming out a little bit summer of 2025, and that was written by Gunn. We'll get to that in a minute, but before we go into the shows, because again you probably have already heard this news. I'm a day late to the game. um, and a lot of speculation, a lot of people I'm sure giving their takes on it. Is it good, is it bad? I haven't seen anybody's take on it at all, other than a number of people writing me saying Tom King is going to be absolutely insufferable. We'll explain that more in a moment. But it is, I would guess that a lot of the takes are negative. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know. You tell me what you've been hearing. But I think, I want to just throw this out there, because if I always play, like, if I was doing this, if I got James Gunn the role, what would I do? How would I try and make this all work? And one of the things I would definitely try and accomplish is I would try and find a niche or a market for me that nobody else has. The elephant in the room here is Disney slash Marvel has been dominating this superhero space, making billion-dollar movies. They are in control of this world, and so it. So if it was me, I would be very leery of taking them on, and I wouldn't try to go head to head with that. I wouldn't try for a couple reasons. No matter how good you are, you're still going to be perceived as a Me Too product, because somebody else has already done this, already captured that ground, and so your hill to climb is just much higher. I wouldn't try and say, yeah, we also have movies like the MCU. I would look again. I would look for a space that isn't filled, and I would try and completely own it. And I think there's an obvious space out there, and I believe I mentioned this before, but to me, I would say my plan is to become the Pixar for superhero. I want to have high quality animation, very well done, very kind of stories that are really powerful, showcasing these characters. And I would in effect say, nobody's really playing in this space. There's very little animation that's done. DC arguably already has several steps in this direction. They do have a decent animation studio out that they've been running with. And I think the smartest thing for them to do would be, take that further, put the money into it, say, we're going to just forever own this space. We're going to own animation. And I think now's the time to do it, because the Spider-Verse show that Sony put out is arguably kind of a few steps in that direction already. And if DC's not careful, they're going to lose it. There's somebody will already be there and already take it. I also think it'd be just smart business, because whereas Disney, Marvel are having to trend a little bit older, a lot of their movies are, having to up the stakes a little bit, and their audience is aging with the film, so they're kind of, making their stuff a little bit more mature. I think it's an opportunity for DC to come in and say, don't make kiddie shows, but do what Pixar does. Do really kind of in-depth, heavily thought, material, and and basically get something that's going to own that YA entry market. If I was DC, I would put all the money and the effort there. Just say, we're gonna develop a style. We're gonna do really, really good animation. We're gonna get some amazing writers to do things that are really kind of, we have that in the comics. There have been stories that tug at your heartstrings and really pull you into it. Go own that, and don't try and say, we're going to translate some of these characters and these things in a new way to motion pictures. Because I think the strong likelihood coming out of this is, whenever I see stuff that James Gunn is going to write, James Gunn has a particular sense of humor, a brand that worked for Guardians of the Galaxy, worked for Peacemaker, but it again, it feels kind of like a Me Too product. He's already done all that work for Marvel. We've seen it. So I think if you're going out there and you're gonna, I think the risk is, no matter how good your movie is, people are going to compare you against the MCU and what Feige's doing, and they've got a huge head start. And also, if people do start to get exhausted of this genre in these movies, you're going to write it down fast because you're late to the game. So anyway, for what it's worth. So let's talk about these movies and what's actually coming out. We have, as I mentioned before, the kind of the capstone or the kickoff here is July 11th, and it's Superman, written by James Gunn, and it promises not an origin story, but it will be Superman kind of balancing his Kryptonian heritage versus his human upbringing. And we've seen some of that before, for sure. We will see a new Superman cast. It will not be Henry Cavill. And so, it will be up to James Gunn to, like, how are you going to pick a villain, a threat, whatever it happens to be, that is going to make this story really work. You have a new Superman. Cavill was very popular, so you got to deal with some of the fallout of that. And then you're also bringing a story that, at least it's not going to feature, Krypton blowing up, although in flashbacks I almost guarantee that it will. But you are coming at pretty well-trod ground, so we'll see. Second movie is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. This is a science fiction adventure, and they're saying directly it is going to adapt Tom King's comic book series of the same name, and it's going to feature a Supergirl people are not used to seeing, which is, if you read the comic, you know what they're talking about there. As I mentioned, people are speculating Tom King is very happy right now. I think it's a pretty weird choice to do that. I don't think that series was terribly well received by people. I mean, some people did like it, but it's odd. It's kind of weird. You could tell that a lot of people, a lot of comic writers knew this information was coming, because everybody from Matt Rosenberg to others were talking about, how Supergirl, this series by Tom King, made them contemplate life as we know it. I'm sorry, the series is not that deep, and I'm not even throwing shade on Tom King here. It's just you're selling it pretty good there, I guess, is my point. The third is a live-action Batman and Robin. Now, I've seen some reports say this will be Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne, but the official kind of solicit says that this is based on Grant Morrison's comic series, which the Batman and Robin series did have. This when Bruce Wayne was sent back in time / dead, and so it was Grayson and Damian. But the way that the thing is written, it's hard to tell. It feels, in fact, not just hard to tell, sounds like it's Bruce Wayne, because they specifically say Batman is taking on somebody who doesn't know that it's his son, which indicates it's not Dick Grayson. But anyway, I think we've got Bruce Wayne. All right, then we've got a live-action Swamp Thing that is cited to be an origin story, so we're getting that, and it is expected to be darker and appeal to more of an adult audience. So we'll see all the things talking about how it's somewhat horror. I mean, we can expect that to occur. So blending horror with superheroes. So we can look forward to that. I think Swamp Thing's kind of a tough poll, but okay. Then we have The Authority, and this will be bringing the comic. They say the comic accurate team, the Wildstorm team. So whether it's early, so whether it will actually be that team or whether it will be a new collection of DC heroes calling themselves The Authority, we'll find out. But at least from the solicit, it talks about a team that takes matters into their own hands to believe what's right, which was sort of kind of what The Authority was, plus some detail and nuance in there. But anyway, we have which was sort of what The Authority was, but with some added detail and nuance and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, they are promising the original team, and so we'll get to that. And then you've got Booster Gold, which is a series based on Booster Gold, and it will be all about a hero from the future using someone from the future using basic technology to pretend to be a superhero in the present day. We have Creature Commandos, which is the only animated series, which is Amanda Waller putting together a team of monsters to go do shit. That is, James Gunn has written the first season, he said, and it sounds a lot like that Marvel comic where there was a team of monsters under the direction of S.H.I.E.L.D., so why not? Then we got Waller, which is a show that is meant to bridge Peacemaker Season 1 and Season 2. So they didn't announce Season 2, but they kind of announced it subtly by just mentioning that, Waller will bridge the two seasons. And this again, I don't know that Amanda Waller is popular enough to carry a series, but I guess this will be like the shenanigans she gets up to, and trying to go in all of that. They're really banking a lot on the idea that Amanda Waller and Black Ops James Gunn style humor there is going to be super, super successful, but we'll see. And then finally, we have Lanterns, which will be a buddy cop, true detective type mystery show featuring Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. And this show will feature a plot line that plays a really big role in the connective thread between all the movies and the TV show. So we got one of those. Maybe it'll be that Thanos is searching for some kind of gems or stones, to appear in the end. I'm not sure. Anyway, so that's it. That's what we've got. My immediate reaction is I think it's... by the way, there's a lot of rumors that there's a Plastic Man movie coming and a couple other things like that. We'll see. I think overall, when I look at this, I'm excited in the standpoint of, seeing some of these characters I'm sure will be fun. The Authority, Horror, Swamp Thing, why not? Sure, I have zero excitement to see Supergirl adapted, but there you have it. Overall, it's fine. I think, there will be movies. I still think it's banking on three things that I think are dangerous. It's banking on that it can somehow carve out a niche for itself outside of, kind of Marvel dominating that space. And it can be different enough, differentiating enough that people get excited about it. I think, two, it's banking a lot on Gunn's style of storytelling and humor, that people will continue to be interested in that, and I think that's a risk. And then I think, three, starting in 2025, so everything I just read to you probably plays out through 2027. That's like 5 years from now. And I think there's a lot, hey, this one will be like True Detective. This one will be like Game of Thrones. I don't know. I don't think it's the strongest outing. And again, I come back to my number one idea is go win animation. My number two idea would be just go win the core. I think that there's it's like with this stuff, it feels like people are trying to overthink it. Like, hey, let's give them what they don't expect. And how fucking hard would it be to say, you know what, we're going to put out a Superman movie and a Batman movie and a Flash movie and a Green Lantern movie and a Wonder Woman movie and then a Justice League movie. We're going to do those things, and we're not going to try and get silly with it, and we're just going to tell a really powerful story with each one, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to give you these core iconic characters, and you know what? Fuck it. That's what we're going to do. I don't know. Granted, if you did that, you'd get people writing articles about like DC provides completely expected movie slate of characters everyone knows and loves, and I'd be like, yeah, that is correct. Go watch them. But anyway, what about you? Does this excite you? Is this good? Like I said, I haven't seen no other commentary on any of this, so I don't know if everybody's getting excited or not. But let me know in the comments below, and thanks for listening.